All right, welcome back to another Koenji Shawn Reviews. And this video is an interview with our good friend Matt Haasch over at Starfruit Books. Starfruit, as you can see here, has an amazing catalog, Pop Life. We can see Hino Hideshi's Pigs coming up here in the future. Young, Alive, and in Love just came out. It was great sitting down and having a chat with him. If you have any questions for Matt after watching this, then hop into our Discord, Koenji Shawn Reviews. He's in there often, and I'm sure he'd be more than willing to answer any questions you might have. But at any rate, let's get into it. An interview with Matt Haasch from Starfruit Books. All right, today we have Matt Haasch, owner of Starfruit Books, which specializes in localization and publishing of Japanese manga in English. Starfruit began in 2020, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you've released titles such as Chieko Show by Momoto Makiru, who I love, Pop Life by Minami Kyuta, Sawanabe Zombie by Tsurukawa Kakio. And I know that you have Pigs coming up, a physical release of Pigs coming up by the master of horror, Hino Hideshi. And yes. I saw today on your Insta that you just hot off the press, Young, Alive, and in Love by Nishijima Daisuke, right? Yes. Who I'm not so familiar with, to be honest. So maybe we can start there. You must be excited about getting Young, Alive, and in Love out now. How did that release?
Oh, so it well, I want to say I'm really excited for this release because it is our first while it's not our first print release, it's our first, I guess you could say, full-size manga. Chieko Show and our first title, When Pink Rain Falls, those were both one-shots, so they were, not very long. So this is a full-size, the first of 3 volumes, and I'm really looking forward to it. The author is very friendly. He actually posts a lot of his works on his own. He recently started his own website. He has a subscription service to where you can read all of his works for, a fee, small fee. And he's really fun to work with. Tons of content. And, I reached out to him about, I've always been a fan, and I reached out to him about something in specific that I can't say. But we talked, and he was like, "Hey, I'd love to work together, but let's do this series first." And I'm glad we are, because it's here. We printed in Europe. It's finally in America. Got that from the airport today. So I sent out about 13 copies this afternoon. So they're starting to ship now. It'll be available at Right Stuff as well, as well as our website.
Nice. And you're going to be releasing all 3 volumes of that?
Yes, we are. Our plan is to have the other 2 volumes out by the end of the year, end of 2022. The second volume, I believe, has work's been started on that. I'm not too sure yet. I'd have to take a look back. But yeah, we'd like to, if not, maybe volume 3, the final volume, like January or February 23. There's a lot in the cards depending on shipping and COVID situation. So, tentatively, yes.
I was actually going to ask about that later, but yeah, so you're printing in Europe and then shipping to North America and distributing from there. And I know that there's been like a lot of issues with COVID and supply chain issues and all of this. Mm-hmm. So has that been delaying your releases a little bit?
A little bit, yes, it has been. Supply chain issues are real, big time. It's not just little guys that are feeling it either. I'm sure that the bigger publishers are feeling something. So it's a pain. It is what it is. We are printing in Europe right now, and that's really helping, as we don't really have distribution besides selling to some other smaller comic stores. And we do also sell through Right Stuff. They picked us up recently, and they are the largest anime distributor in North America. So that really helps out, as well as we have some other. We have a chain coming up that's going to carry some of our books, but can't say just yet. A certain location now. But yeah, so printing in Europe, and then we are able to sell copies through a Portuguese publisher that does manga by the name of Sendai. And they're able to carry our books. So if you're in Europe, you can get our books through them, free shipping across Europe. So that's pretty neat. Yeah. So he'll be getting, or Sendai, the publisher slash web store, will be getting a majority of our releases. Probably not everything because we are printing some things here, some of the smaller things. But we do plan on getting a majority of our releases over to them. Yes.
So pigs will be available over through them as well?
Yes. Yeah. So looks like we'll be printing that, excuse me, probably in Portugal, with the printer in Portugal. So it'll be right there with Sendai. So yeah, so Sendai will, just like Young, Alive, and Love, if you're in Europe, you'll most likely get it first before North America, just because of logistic reasons. So yeah, I mean, that would help for other countries as well. We have Sleepy Eyed Books in Australia carrying our titles as well. So it's pretty, I wouldn't say affordable or economical, but it is much more doable to ship from Europe to Australia as opposed to Florida, where I am, to Australia.
Yeah, I feel bad for a lot of the fans, the manga readers in Australia, because they're so far away from distribution, and the shipping prices are just insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I really feel for you guys. Sorry. So we're gonna try the best we can to get some manga down there, just to kind of get our releases worldwide. It's definitely challenging without having distro. I know some other publishers have talked about it as well, kind of dealing with having to handle it ourselves, kind of thing. And I mean, we get through it. But yeah, so far so good.
Well, I guess that brings me to, what was the kind of the impetus for starting Starfruit? Of course, like you're saying right now, it's a tough business, localizing and publishing manga and getting it out into people's hands and stuff. So what made you want to take on this challenge?
Well, I've been an avid manga collector and reader since forever. And I don't know, I just kind of thought about hey, let's try and get some stuff in English that we don't necessarily see. I reached out to a handful of authors. The first two I heard back from, Kakio Surukawa, which we did Saonabu Zambe and Ikiudo, and then Minami Kuta as well. She actually reached out to me, and I told her, hey, I've been familiar with your works. We have none of your stuff in English. I've seen it over the years. I did an import and I got a couple volumes just because I like her art style. And we talked. Next thing you know, we picked up Pop Life 2-volume series from her. After that concluded, her and I talked some more, and we got a whole bunch of other titles coming from her.
Nice.
So yeah, we've actually become, I think, friends over the process, and kind of a mentor, I'd even say, because she's really helped me out a lot with a few other things. So yeah, definitely, I'm really grateful for her, as well as all the other authors that we work with. Yeah.
So I was going to ask, I had this in the notes as well, dealing directly with mangaka, dealing with mangaka managers or their parent publishing companies. Which do you do more of? Which do you prefer?
I prefer to work directly with the mangaka themselves. So we've worked with we have something coming up through a publisher, not yet announced, but it will be through a publisher. However, working with the mangaka is great because we like to include them on every step of the process of the localization of their story. So, before it even hits the printer, or, if it's a digital only, before it even gets released, we send it to them and say, what do you like, or what don't you like, rather. We've had a few, usually, everything looks good. However, sometimes we'll say, hey, I don't like the sound effect, can you change it for me, or stuff like that. And of course, yeah, there's no problem there. I mean, it's their work. We want to make sure it, they put their 2 cents in on it. I know it doesn't always happen. You have other larger publishers who, even the letter, the editor, and the translator don't even know who one another are. So that's kind of a mess. I mean, that kind of kills I don't know. I don't care for that in the creative process. So yeah, I really in that, and I mean, like I said, it's I really like getting the input from the author, and I think that it's there. I mean, they have every right to do so. So yeah, I definitely prefer working directly with them. Um, I guess, we'll definitely be working with publishers, of course, over time, but more info to come soon on that.
Nice, nice. It sounds like you have a pretty tight team over there with the the translators, of course, you organizing, the artists doing the sound effect redraws. Um, Kind of everyone seems to work pretty tightly together so that everything comes together in kind of one voice, which it seems like even the big publishers have definite challenges with sometimes. And
Mhm.
I don't know, you're in our Discord group. Sometimes we get into deep conversations about translations and voice of translations or crappy sound effects and stuff. Is that difficult to deal with sometimes?
So like I said, um, Dan is my lead translator. I've known him for years. I've read manga he's translated for years. So I'm pretty, I know how he translates, and I'm very comfortable with it. It's not unrealistic. It doesn't have a weird accent or anything like that.
Mm.
So I really enjoy his translation. We have others read it as well who say the same thing.
Mm.
Voice of the translator is actually a really interesting subject, because so someone like me, if I were to translate, which it won't happen, so don't anyone get your hopes up, it would probably be pretty bad. Just being honest, like I'm not a very good writer, creative writer either, so I can admit to it, it doesn't bother me. So it's it's just one of those things. So it's like, yeah, maybe not. Matt shouldn't do that. So
Mm.
but yeah, we have a very tight team. um a handful of letters. um Most of our sound effects that we're doing with our manga are done by hand. Our editors and letters take care of that. For instance, City of Pigs, Hideshi Hino coming out. Kelly did, we're just looking over the QC files for that, and Kelly did a wonderful job. I mean, not that I didn't think she would, because she's phenomenal at everything she touches, as well as Meg, and of course Aiden is, and everyone else is just amazing. I think everyone that works with us seems to like it. I enjoy every one of them. I try to send them work when I can, or help them get work elsewhere if possible. But yeah, very tight team, bunch of great hard workers, and honestly, they keep me on track. And if it, I honestly, they do a lot of the hard work, I would say. So shout out to everyone there.
Sweet, sweet. And I believe this is the first time Hino Hideshi has been translated and into English for about 20 years or so.
I believe so. I want to say it was like early 2000s, like late
Mm.
90s, early 2000s. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty a long time coming, I guess you could say. It's about damn time. So yeah, like I said, I've said before, this is just our first release by him. We plan to do some others. I can't say yet, but it will come. I will probably, tentatively, I'd like to make another Hino announcement when we start shipping this release. But I want to wait till we start shipping it, definitely. It's supposed to come out in quarter 4. Unfortunately, COVID delays everything. So yeah, that's where we're at with it. QC's almost done. And then Hino's team is almost done looking at it as well. Once that's done, hits the printer, and then the ebook will go live, prior to. So if anyone is interested in a digital copy, you can get it through our site. I want to say it'll be priced at $10, and that is DRM free, and it'll come with a PDF and a CBZ file.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
That kind of brings me to print, digital. I know some of your releases are digital only. You've been moving more towards print, especially like with Young coming out now and Pigs coming out. Then these are, full on print releases. How do you decide whether to do digital only or to print, or does it just depend on the title?
Yeah, it does. I want to say going forward, most, if not all of our titles are going to be both print and digital. It just depends on, so for instance, Pop Life, digital rights were cleared through Minami Kita. However, I didn't really want to deal with the Japanese publisher for print rights. So, as for now, no. However, some of our older or original titles, we're gonna actually look into printing them, doing maybe some limited or smaller print runs, just to why not, just to get them out there.
Your catalog, a little bit about your catalog. I mean, you have a little bit of everything in there. I know a lot of indie publishers. Sorry, I don't want to, and I don't mean that disparagingly at all, but indie publishers, like a lot of them will focus on like kind of one genre, or one kind of lane. But your catalog's really diverse. You got horror in there, you got kind of slice of life stuff in there, you got comedy in there, kind of gag stuff. What is kind of the direction you're going with that, rather than kind of having this big mixed catalog rather than focusing on kind of one lane?
Well, I personally like all kinds of manga, and I really enjoy underrepresented manga as well. And being a smaller publisher, we are able to kind of, I guess you could say, take that risk or touch those more unconventional titles. And I personally would want to work on all genres. I don't really have any hangups on much. I would like to focus more, getting some more BL titles, horror titles as well. I would like to get maybe some action. I want a nice, like, good shonen series. Maybe some also classic shoujo, of course, that is definitely up there on my list. So definitely a lot to get. Of course, like I said, we've got some more Minami Kita stuff coming up down the road. So we've got a nice handle on the josei category there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have that diverse catalog because it brings, all kinds of manga fans in. I try to read all kinds of stuff. I'm really into like all kinds of stuff, but I did for like a long time. I was just like strictly into horror, retro, vintage, and then as I start getting to it, then it starts branching out into more Geikiga, and then I'm getting more newer titles now, and so it's good to have somewhere to go where I can find, especially Starfruit, where I can find a mangaka that I'm sometimes not familiar with. So I remember one of the first things I got from you was Ikyodo, and I wasn't familiar with it, and I enjoyed reading it, and then it turned me on to Sawanabe Zombie as well. So yeah, I like the diversity in your catalog.
Thank you. Yeah, it's something that I want to keep doing. I think that why not? Why stick to just one sort of group of titles? Like, why? There's so much manga out there that will never be touched. So let's just go all or nothing.
We were talking about the king of Japanese horror, Hino Hideshi. How about the queen of Japanese horror, if I could ask about Inuki Kaneko? Is there any chance we might be seeing something along those lines?
I wish. I have nothing planned by her. I would die if that happened. I really would. Kodansha just announced today, I want to see it was today, about that they are going to do, I think, I think it's a collection of shorts. I'm not too sure. I just realized it was one of her titles, and we haven't had her stuff in a long time. So I'm really looking forward to that. However, like I said, I want to do more horror manga. As we all know, Junji Ito does very well in the English market. Viz did with Drifting Classroom by Umez. They're re-releasing that, as well as another title coming up, and it's slipping my mind, but I can't remember that. So yeah, where I'm going with this is, I think the time is now for horror manga. And I've been saying for a while now that I think that the time is now this is the decade, quote unquote, of just different manga coming out, not your typical stuff. We see Seven Seas, other larger publishers, not just going after isekai, not going after your typical shonen or shoujo. They're actually broadening their horizons, which I think is great, because it's not really, we're not competing here. It's there's enough to go around. But no, definitely, I think that horror manga, or I'm hoping horror manga, this is its time to shine. And as we all know, horror manga is very overlooked in the English market. There's maybe a small, tiny little piece of it out. So hopefully Starfruit can work towards getting some more horror titles out, as well as these larger publishers. I think that it will happen. I really do. I really think it's going to happen. Not just us. In general, I think horror is really going to take off. So fingers crossed.
I have a friend in Southern California who his family's in Mexico as well. And he gets most of his horror when he goes and visits his family in Mexico because they get more Spanish translations than we get in the English market. So, uh, um, and kind of sidetrack here, but yeah, Umez has a new release coming out in 2 days. No, tomorrow, because I'm the opening of the Umez exhibition for his newest release, first release in about 20 years. I think it's going to be some sort of continuation of Shingo, but I really don't know until I get to the exhibition tomorrow. And I'm hoping that that gets released in English through someone in the English market, because, you know, when you get these artists like Junji Ito or Umez releasing, then it bumps up all the horror in the market, right? So
It
then
really does.
yeah, and as a horror fan, I'd like to see more horror translated into English as well. Um, Other companies, I mean, you're a couple years in now, almost a couple years in, with Starfruit. Any advice? Any maybe first question would be what were the biggest challenges that you've faced so far?
Oh, let's see.
Maybe a lot, but you know, one that
Yeah, no,
comes to
there's been a ton of challenges. I mean, I've been very fortunate that I've had a lot of people around me who really know what they're doing and are able to advise me. And I'm very grateful for that. But printing is definitely an animal of its own. It's not fun to shop for a printer. It's especially not fun when you email and they don't get back to you for 2 weeks just to tell you that they're like 3 months backed up. So I would say that is not something it's not, that's the part I don't care for. But it's all smoothed out now. We've got it all worked out. We've got a couple printers we're dealing with, so shouldn't really have to deal much with that too much longer. Advice. Oh, I would say if you're thinking about doing it, just go for it. You know, why not? If you're thinking about doing something and you don't know, hey, I don't know if I'll get a response, I don't know if it'll come to fruition, just send the email, do it. Worst you're gonna get back is a no. So
yeah. Do you find a little bit of I mean, I know that, you know, you read a bit of Japanese, you know a bit of Japanese. Do you find it the communication barrier between languages sometimes difficult when reaching out to mangaka or publishing companies? Or
I'm fortunate that I have Dan and some other translators that will help with my messages there, because my Japanese is not very good. So I can get some of it, but especially conversational or like business, no. But I love to negotiate, so I'm cool with that. So I'm very fortunate that I have the backup and the help there to help translating even simple messages. I do have a few authors that will write in English, and that just makes my day. So,
nice.
yeah.
Speaking of authors, Momoto Makira, I know you deal directly with her, and she's I have a I
There it
love this
is.
one. It's really fun. She is wild. She is wild. I love her name too. Momo means peach and To means puke. So she's
Love it.
got
Love
this
it.
like awesome pen name of puking peaches. And her stuff is really wild. Her artwork is really wild. The stories are wild. Do you have more stuff from her coming up in the future, or that you could talk about? If you can't, then that's okay.
I'm not sure yet. I can't say for sure. I would love to. She has a few other things, that one you just held up. Um, and I would really like to. I enjoy her comedy. I think it's weird. It's definitely out there. It's not traditional, and I really appreciate it. So definitely, I would like to. I don't. It's not set up yet, but something may be in the works.
Maybe similar question. Not what you have coming up in the works now or in the near future, but dream releases. Are there any like titles or any mangaka that you would just you just love releasing, just die for?
Um, I mean, anything from any of the ladies of the year 24 group.
Hmm.
I think I would probably pass out if that happened. I said I would pass out if Hideshi Hino happened, but I didn't pass out, so that's good.
You're here. You're with us
Yeah,
still.
here I am. So I'm still standing, barely. Hmm. I would really like an Umez release. I don't think it would ever happen, but hey, that or someone from Garo. I'd like someone from there. Um, of course, anything from Koro Koro Comics because I love Koro Koro.
Mm.
So I don't know. We'll see. Those are definitely dreams. Hey, keep striving, right? So we'll see what happens.
This kind of just came to mind, but you know, you're localizing in English. Have you ever thought about localizing in another language as well? Italian, Spanish, French, as they also want to get some of these awesome releases as well.
Definitely. So we actually did a one shot by Minami Kyuta, digital only, called The Blood Red Boy. It's just about 16 pages long. We actually released it in Spanish as well. So there is an option to purchase it in Spanish. We also are going to be releasing it in Swedish. It's ready. I just haven't posted it because I'm lazy. But I guess Sweden doesn't get much manga. I think they only have one publisher, and then the rest is all through English publishers. Um, so yeah, I was speaking with someone who is a Japanese to English and Japanese to Swedish translator. So it all just kind of worked out. I'd also I'm actually planning, I just don't know which one yet, a one shot of some sort, publishing it in Greek actually. So we'll see
Oh,
how that comes out. I'm just not sure which author is up for it and which we're gonna do. So we'll see. That's definitely gonna happen though, and probably in the future more releases in Spanish.
yeah, I know that one of the goals, I mean, amongst the people around us, everyone just wants to see a lot of these great mangaka and these great titles get out to people, no matter how it happens, whether it's in English, French, Spanish, Greek, really doesn't
Mhm.
matter. I mean, everyone's happy. That's the reason why I do this channel. I think that's one of the reasons why you do Starfruit, is to get things that you like out to other people so they get a little bit more recognition. And it feels good to introduce something awesome to people that are into it.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I agree. It's definitely a lot. There's a lot of passion in it. As weird as that sounds, it's definitely a passion project. I'm really glad it. I didn't think we would be where we are today. Initially started out, I was like, let's just stick to digital for now, and then, you get into print, and you're like, why haven't we been doing this all along? So I'm very fortunate to be where I am. I'm very fortunate that Starfruit is thriving, that Starfruit is growing a lot quicker than I thought it would. So yeah, definitely doing good there.
well, I'm definitely looking forward to more of your upcoming releases. Everyone needs to come over to your website and Starfruit. Actually, before we wrap everything up, where can people find you on SNS, and what's the best way to buy your releases?
Oh, perfect. So if you want to check us out, starfruitbooks.com would be the best place to buy your releases as well. Like I said earlier, you can purchase anything print or digital right from our website. All digital releases are DRM free. They will contain a zip file, and you should get a CBZ file for comic reader and a PDF. Those are full-size images. We do have maybe one or two things on Kindle, but of course, Amazon does compress, and we don't use a lot of Amazon. As for physical releases, of course, purchase through our website, starfruitbooks.com, or directly through Right Stuff. Sorry, I totally forgot what their name was. You can get it right through Right Stuff as well. They're going to be carrying most of our releases. We have some smaller comic shops as well. Working on getting a list together on everyone carrying our titles on the website. As for SNS, check us out on Twitter, Starfruit Books, Instagram, Starfruit Books.
Great. I'll put some links down below in the description so everyone can access those easily. And I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with me about this. Looking forward to all your upcoming releases. Of course, you know I'm a huge Hino fan, so especially Pigs. I hope that we can get some over here in Japan because it's difficult for us to get these English titles over here. And you really are doing Odin's work over there. It's awesome. It's great. And I really appreciate you, Matt.
Thanks, Shawn. I appreciate it. And I'll look into, I'm trying to get some over there. I know I have to send some for Hino's team as well as some other people. So I'm going to look at that. I don't have contact yet for any of the manga shops over there. So I'm going to look into that and see if we can get even a couple copies over there. And
Sweet.
yes, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be back sometime soon and we can talk about even more manga. So thanks,
You're
Shawn.
welcome to come on anytime that you want to be on, just let me know. I'm here waiting impatiently.
Good. We will work it out. We will do another. I'm not sure what yet, but hey, we'll see. We'll see what we can work out.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Matt. Starfruit Books. I
Thanks.
appreciate it. And keep on doing what you're doing.
Thanks. We'll do. See ya.
See ya. All right. Thanks to everyone who subs, likes, and shares. Hitting that sub button helps out a lot. And also, remember, I have a Patreon page where I post all of the wild stuff from my collection that is often unfit to be up here on YouTube. So head on over to Koenji Shawn Reviews at Patreon if you want to check out some of that content. And be sure to go over and check out Starfruit Books and support them in their endeavor to get indie manga out in English. All right, thanks everyone, and I will be back again. Mate ne.